So, yeah, that happened. The grand finals of ESL Pro League Season 19 have concluded. 3 weeks of Counter-Strike have all led up to this best-of-5 series between Mouz and Vitality, and what seemed like an anticipatory, potentially historic match has ended in one of the cleanest sweeps I have ever seen in the history of Counter-Strike. There's no real way around it. We're going to spend the entire video talking about it. Mouz absolutely routed Vitality in this grand finals. They embarrassed them. They made them look silly. They made them look foolish. All the while, Mouz played some of the most clinical Counter-Strike over 3 maps in the entire tournament to capture their back-to-back ESL Pro League titles and tick their second box on the way towards the Intel Grand Slam. This now ties them with FaZe with 2 events each and cements Mouz as one of the very best teams in all of World Counter-Strike. So today, we're going to break everything down, all the good, all the bad, so if you missed the action live, you're in the #1 place to get your recaps. So get ready, and let's lock it in. But before we get started, make sure you guys take a second, leave a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps out immensely in the YouTube algorithm. Many of you watch these videos are not, in fact, subscribed, so make sure you do it. Also, consider becoming a channel member for $5 a month. You can support me directly when we do here, gain access to exclusive emblems, emotes, a shoutout at the end of every video, as well as some more features we'll be talking about in the coming weeks. And lastly, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/LionHeartZ1337. I stream Sunday through Friday, 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be live tonight talking about EPL, playing Counter-Strike, opening more cases, so come hang out and have some fun, and let's get started with the video. Okay. Now, I want to give Mouz their fair due here and focus the majority of this video on how well they played not only in this series, but throughout this tournament. So first things first, we're going to take a look at just how poorly Vitality played in this series, get that out of the way so we could focus on the positives coming out of this matchup. Alright, so, has to be said, Vitality played an incredible tournament. ZywOo was on pace to have one of the best individual performances of all time. He came into the series with a 1.7 rating, decimating the competition, destroying both FaZe and Astralis, and just looking unstoppable the entire way. And if you cast your minds back to my previous video, I would have said that Mouz were the favorites going into this series, but if ZywOo played to this level, then Vitality could beat them. We come into the finals, and what happens? ZywOo has his worst series of the tournament. Everyone on Vitality underperforms. The strats look terrible. The cohesion looks off. The teamwork looks sloppy. And they are never a threat to win any single game in this series, and Mouz are able to pull off an easy 3-0 sweep in the best-of-5. It's really hard to say what went differently for Vitality here, whether it was a mentality shift, whether they just ran out of gas, maybe it was just Mouz having the momentum from the very beginning and not letting go, but whatever it was, it took Vitality far too late into all 3 of these games to get any momentum going. They allowed Mouz to dominate every single first half, run up big leads, and then Vitality were in a back foot position where they had to try and make some miracle second half comeback happen, and by the time they got there, that's simply asking too much, especially against a team as consistent and so unbearably hard to break as Mouz. And then unfortunately we have to come to ZywOo himself, who, if you look on the screen, this was ZywOo in every single match leading up to the grand finals. As we have covered, he was on track to beat Donk's record. He was averaging over a 1.7 rating. He was at a 1.84 after the FaZe series, and then he dominated through Astralis. Great. Unreal. ZywOo's back. His form is immaculate. Can he maintain it in the grand finals? And he puts up his 3 worst games in a row at the worst possible time for Vitality. And this wasn't a lack of setup. There wasn't a lack of opportunity. ZywOo was going to all his normal spots. He got a fair amount of opportunity to have impact in these games, and there were a bunch of rounds where bizarrely ZywOo just was not him. There were missed op shots, there were missed clutches, there were moments where he was getting caught out early into the round where he would die first and the T-side attack for Vitality would fall apart thereafter, where previously he was the best entry fragger in this tournament. He had over a 70% success rate on entry attempts coming into the series, and then he just couldn't get it done. Meanwhile, Mouz's star player Xerxin, who is also one of the best players of this event, had a field day. He got to all of his spots and made Vitality hurt. He was dominant. In the 1v1 matchup, he outkilled ZywOo 15-11. Nobody else in this tournament got even close to touching ZywOo as much as Xerxin was able to. And to make it even worse, ZywOo wasn't compensating by dominating the other matchups. He was even in the matchup against JimFat. He mainly had the advantage over Brolin, but Shuhi outfragged him and Torzi outdid him as well. And when Vitality were so reliant on ZywOo to make their T-sides work and to hold his anchor on CT, that meant the entire team fell apart. Mezzi couldn't get anything going. Sphinx, he had a couple good clutches, but generally couldn't find the output. And Apex, it has to be said, Apex got tilted so many times during this match, and I think it was clear that his head was not in it after a certain point. He is the in-game leader, but he's also a notorious hothead, and when he gets out of control, suddenly the team can't function, and he's trying to force strats. He's trying to make it happen no matter what, and then suddenly he's taking risky pushes by himself and dying early into the round, which is just a huge mistake. And I put a lot of pressure on Xtaz as the coach here for not being able to settle his team down, because it felt like after the first map, Vitality were never able to get settled in. Alright, now that we dissected what went wrong with Vitality, let's focus on the positive here, and that's that Mouz played such a dominant finals that it's crazy. I knew this team was good. I knew this team was one of the favorites, and they've been a favorite in this tournament since the very beginning. But the way they played through this playoffs, the way they played this grand finals was elite, special territory. The best way to compare it is that there were times where I felt like I was watching very similar play to what we saw out of Astralis, where what made peak Astralis so deadly, other than their insane utility usage, was just how dominant of a machine they were. Despite them having, one of the very best players of all time in Device, you could argue that the real strength of Astralis was that the whole was so much stronger than the sum of its parts. You had Device, who was this incredible anchor star player, but Device would not be able to function nearly as well without the backups of Xyp9x being one of the all-time best clutch players, Magus and Dupree being elite CT anchors and incredible entries on the T side, and then of course the elite calling of Glaive, and the fact that for an in-game leader at the time, Glaive was more than capable with the rifle in his hands, could put up big numbers when he needed, and was so good in the clutch himself. I see a lot of that in this Mouz team, where Xerxin is taking that spot of Device, where he is the star player, he is the difference maker when they need it most, but he isn't allowed to operate without Brolin right behind him, finding flanks on the CT side, being incredible late in rounds on the T side. Torji putting in such solid work on the op, being ever dependable at holding his angles. And then bringing up the rear is Shuhei and Jimfat, who make a great supporting core, and Shuhei in his own right as a young in-game leader is showing himself to be more than capable at taking rounds into his own hands. And the big thing that Shuhei has over his contemporaries at his age as an IGL is that Shuhei is gifted in the mid-round. Mouz's mid-round plays, the way they can respond to things happening that aren't going their way, is nearly second to none. Their ability to adapt, especially on the T side, and bring rounds back from huge deficits was incredible throughout this tournament, and the few times that Vitality seemed like they had something going, it wouldn't be long before Mouz could remanufacture an advantage seemingly out of nowhere. And by far the best aspect about what Mouz did in this grand finals was their ability to run up early leads that left no room for Vitality to get anything going until it was already too late. Across all three first halves played in this series, Mouz conceded 8 total rounds for all 3 maps played. No more than 3 in any opening half. That is unreal domination. That is giving no quarter to Vitality. That is so good that you could afford to throw rounds like you're an absolute sinner on the second half because you only need to win 3-4 max to end the game. That gives you such a cushion, that gives you such free comfort in your mind that mistakes no longer matter. You can fuck up a few rounds. You can throw away a bad force buy. You can take some time and recover your economy because your cushion to win the game is just that thick. Looking at the first map, Inferno, look no further than the fact that they win the pistol on their second half, they lose the first gun round to Vitality's CT side, and then they just calmly absorb a 5-0 run by Vitality, where all they need to do is break through and win one more round, and suddenly it's match point. Why? Because you had a 9-round opening half, which gives you a lot of room for error on the T side of Inferno. You go to Mirage, it's the same story. You win 9 T rounds to open the game. Swap to the CT side, you win the pistol. Guess what? Vitality win the force buy next. They run off the next 3 while you recover your economy. No big deal. You take one of those gun rounds, lose the next 2, no problem. You only need to win 2 more rounds. You just calmly recover your economy, win the next 2, and go on to the third map. It's just that easy when you have so much room for error. And then we come to Nuke. And just an absolute statement, opening half by Mouz. They win the first 7 rounds straight. Vitality look lost. They look pissed. They look ready to go home. They can't get anything going. Even when they managed to win a miracle round on that first half, Doesn't matter. You take the next 3 of 4, you have a 10-2 on an elimination game on Nuke. Sure, it's CT side Nuke for Vitality. Anything can happen. But look at the pistol round. Look at how much work Vitality have to put in to win any rounds. Shuhi goes on the incredible flank through hut, through ramp, to heaven, and it takes Flames with an incredible 2v1, hitting an amazing 180 turn headshot just for them to win the pistol round. They're barely scraping by with 1-2 people alive. So they're never able to establish a CT side economy. They win the next one the same way, only 2 people survive, so they're still on MP9s, while Mouz, because they're getting bomb plants every round, are still forcing Galils and AKs every single round. They have the economic advantage, even though they're losing, so you get to the 3rd round, and now Vitality are out of money. They're out of position. They're out of grenades. Mouz have all the advantage. They win that 1st round. Now Vitality is broken, and all they can do is continue to force buy, because again, you won 10 rounds on your opening half, so Mouz only need to win 3 more to end the tournament. There is no buffer for Vitality. If it's a 6-6 half, or like a 7-5 half where Mouz still won the half, there's still a bigger room, a bigger margin for error for Vitality to mount a comeback on CT side Nuke. But instead, Mouz have given them nothing to work with, and they dominate their way to victory. So one thing I want to cover before we wrap it up here, I believe HLTV and ESL got this one wrong. ESL has the MVP as Shuhi, and don't get me wrong, Shuhi has a great series. He drops 50 kills in an elimination game in a best of 5 against one of the very best teams in the world, which is so damn impressive as an in-game leader. But Mouz are nowhere without Xerxin. Xerxin should be the MVP for this tournament. Not only does he finish this tournament as the 3rd best player with a 1.34 rating, he was electric in this finals. 56 kills, 41 deaths, a plus 15 kill differential, 92 ADR, a 1.38 rating. He did it all to make sure that Mouz were in this game every step of the way, and he should have been the MVP. HLTV has the MVP as ZywOo. Now listen, ZywOo was the best player at this event, so him getting the award is not a big deal. However, I just feel like on principle, the team that wins the tournament should be the team that's awarded the MVP, because you can't be the most valuable player if your team didn't win the tournament. That's just my personal thoughts. I know they gave it to ZywOo because he dominated everything, but ZywOo went missing when it mattered absolutely the most, and that's the grand finals. So it should have been Xerxin. This is his MVP. I don't know why it went to Shuhi through ESL, but you know, listen, I don't make the rules. This is just how they work. All right, guys, after 3 weeks, we are finally concluded with ESL Pro League Season 19. I had a lot of fun covering this event all the way through, and I know you guys really enjoyed the content. Thank you so much for the support along the way. I just want to take a second and let you guys know what's going on. So now that I'm over 1,000 subscribers, I'm officially monetized, so I've been working on getting that set up over the last little bit. And now that the channel is set up and working, we can take a look at making things more serious than they have been in the past. So you can expect more content coming from me in the future. One of the things that I want to get set up very soon is I want to do VOD review from you guys. I want to review viewer games and make them into videos. That's something I also want to make available to the channel members. But initially, I think I might set up something to where you guys can submit unlisted YouTube videos to me so that I can look at them, take a look at what's going on, try and give you guys my thoughts on what people could be doing to improve at the game, as well as analyze the gameplay that you've offered to me. So that's something I'm going to be working on in the very future. Keep an eye out for that. Also, as far as tournament coverage goes, because I know you guys have been really enjoying the recaps, I like making them, so we're going to keep on doing them. As far as upcoming events, the next big tournament on the list is the Bet Boom Dacha, which actually starts in a few days. I'm going to wait for this tournament to wrap up, and I'll make one video going over it, because there's only 8 teams. It's only a 4-day tournament, so I'm not going to cover it by day. I'm just going to let it wrap up, and I'll just cover the big events, the big news from the tournament all in one video, so keep an eye out for that. As for the next major tournament, that would be IEM Dallas, which will be at the end of the month on the 27th. And that one I will be covering just like I did here with the ESL Pro League. I'll wrap up the group stages, I'll cover the playoffs day by day. So if you guys are excited for that, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more content so that you get up-to-date news on all those tournaments. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for the support. It's been unreal. I love you guys. I'll see you soon with another video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to my channel members, Justin, Jesse, and Furley. They keep the lights on, and I appreciate them immensely. I'm tired. My voice hurts. I'll see you guys soon. Later.